So today we are going to build the next nano tank in the house. It's a 30 high by 45 wide by 28 deep, and up at the top we've got just a cheap light from Amazon, made in China, that clips onto the glass with some plastic. We'll attach it to a smart plug so that we can pop a timer on it, as it doesn't come with a timer. And for this tank we are looking at doing something slightly different to the others and doing a Blackwater setup. So the first thing we're going to do is to get some aqua soil into bags. These are just standard mesh bags from Amazon with a zip on it, which is all made of plastic. I'm using the fluval stratum. It's a good mix, got a lot of nutrients in it, so it should help the plants root into the bottom. So I'm only filling the bags possibly about a third to a half with the aqua soil. This just means that it's easier to lay it flat. So I've got a bit of a sand and substrate mix that I had from a previous build that I'm going to put in first, but I'll need to top up with some gravel on top of that because it's not going to be quite enough. But the stuff that I had from last time came from an established tank, so it should have some beneficial bacteria in it. So the wood we've got this time is talawa wood. As you can see, it's got quite spidery fronds to it. We've got a few large pieces here, and we're going to try and create space for an emergent plant at the top, a fern or a peace lily. We'll see when we get closer to it, but we're going to try and do it from the left hand side of the tank over here, with the plants coming up underneath the light, and with less over in the far right section there. So let's place a few bits and see what we can create. So I've got some off-white sand here that I'm going to use, as the botanicals will stand out quite nicely against it, so I'll pop that in and then get some of the rocks in. So I haven't talked too much about what we're doing here, but we are creating a Blackwater aquarium. It will be a no filter aquarium, although it will have a heater attached to it because the aim will be to get a better fish for it. So I'm just going to actually take off one of the sticks here. This one's not particularly aesthetically pleasing, as it's very, very straight. There's also another stick behind it. And actually it's quite pointy, and there's a nice section here for the better to swim in and out, so I'm going to break off that stick. got some pebble river rocks for the scape, so I'm just going to put a few in. I'm going to put them close to the twigs so that we can glue them down, because only the smallest one that I put in has actually ever been in water before. The rest of them haven't been in water at all, or at least for a long time, so they will float up if we don't glue them down. So I'm going to pop a few pebbles in key places so that we can glue the sticks to the rocks. Okay, so now I'm going to scatter a few pebbles around the edge of the rocks. I've kicked up a little bit of the gravel around the rocks, which doesn't really matter, just gives it a more natural look, so I'm just going to scatter a few more to make it look a little bit more like a riverbed. And you just tuck it as close to the rock as you can. Just get a little bit round. So one of the things I forgot to do when putting the gravel in is to put in some nutrient tablets. So I'm going to do that now by breaking some up and just pushing them below the surface of the soil. So I'm using API root tabs, which you can't see. There we go, API root tabs. And I'm just breaking them into about 4 pieces, dotting them at intervals throughout the tank. So this is cyanoacrylate superglue. It's a gel form, so I'm just going to find the contact points where the wood meets the rock and get some glue stuck down there. Just doing a tap test to make sure that nothing's moving. It isn't, so it appears to be fixed okay. So now I'm going to put a few plants in. I've saved a few, I hope, from rotting. So I'm going to pop those in first, but pop them in relatively easy to reach places in case I need to take them out again. So I've got some Echinodorus, so some swords, Amazon swords. And I've got some Pagostemon left. I'll put this towards the back in this area, which is going to get slightly more light. And we've got some Hygrophila pinifetida, which roots did rot, so I've trimmed them. Just going to try and plant them to see whether they'll work. They may struggle. got some Braziliensis which I'm going to pop around in the lighter areas because it tends to prefer more sunlight. So before I put in the rest of the plants, I'm going to get in the emergent plants so that I can see where the roots lie. So we've got two types of plants that I want to use as emergent plants. We've got some form of ivy, which is this one. Because this is a no filter tank, these roots will really help absorb the nutrients out of the water. So we've just got to make sure that the roots will go below the water line. We're going to bring up the water to about here, so that should be just right for those. I'm going to get the peace lily, which is the other plant we've got tucked behind it. Now I've taken off the majority of the soil of these, but they're still quite tall. I'm going to just tuck them in behind here. I'm going to wedge in as many of them as I can. Get the roots tucked down. Gives a good little mangrove jungle vibe. Okay, so we've got a few bits and pieces here. I've got a bit of Vallisneria from my axolotl tank, which I'm going to pop in here. Like the light, so in the far corner. And then I've got a couple of Cryptocorynes. I've got Cryptocoryne Balancea, which is a lovely wiggly leafed one. And these don't mind the shade so much, so I'm going to tuck them slightly under plants here. Now I've got some Anubiuses. I've got Anubius barteri Nano. final bit of Anubias, which is just super glued to a rock. I left the front a little bit more open because there's going to be some botanicals on there. Let's get some water in now so that the plants have enough to drink. Give them a bit of spray in the meantime. So as I'm doing this, I'm popping in some water conditioner. It's just 1 drop for every 4 litres. The bowl jug that I'm using is a 2 litre jug, so for every 2 jugs, a bit more. But I'm going to leave the video here, and in part 2 we can get the botanicals in and you can see the fish. Thank you for watching. Please do like the video if you enjoyed this and subscribe for more videos. We'll see you next time. Bye!